Welcome to another episode of the CHL Top 10 Show presented by Kia. I'm Scott Van Kunit. In this week's show, fresh off a stint in the ECHL, Luke Prokop stops by to tell us what it's like to play for a team he beat for a championship last season, building chemistry with his new teammates, and the opportunity to play for another championship. Plus, QMJHL leading scorer Jordan Dumais fills us in on his incredible run to start the season, being a leader on a young Halifax Moosehead squad, and what they have to do to take the next step as a team. Here's one of Seattle's latest additions, Luke Prokop. Joining me now is Nashville Predators prospect and one of the newest Seattle Thunderbirds, Luke Prokop. Luke, thanks for taking the time out today to join me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time today. So what was your initial reaction to finding out that you were coming back to the WHL but headed to Seattle?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a chaotic couple of weeks there for me. Obviously, I think I learned a lot playing a few months in pro hockey, and was really excited to come back to Seattle, knowing that they have a good team. I have a lot of buddies on this team, and bringing what I learned in pro hockey to this team, and hopefully making a long playoff run and winning a championship.
Talk about that move a little bit. You go from Norfolk, who's on the extreme East Coast, to Seattle, who's all the way on the other side of the country on the West Coast.
Yeah, it was different. I think the day before my first game, I had a 22-hour travel day, just kind of getting all my things in order. But I mean, it was nice living out there, a bit different, and got to play some good hockey out there as well.
Any messages from Nashville before you came back to Seattle?
I think for them, just making sure that I'm working on the things that they want me to work on, and making sure that I'm keeping up my pro habits and not falling back into a junior mindset. Thinking that I am a pro player playing in junior was one of their big things for me, and making sure every night that whether that's practice or a game, being the hardest working guy on the ice, and the hardest guy to play against.
So keeping that in mind, how does this year's move from Norfolk to Seattle compare to last year from Edmonton or from Calgary to Edmonton?
I mean, I think you look at it like, Calgary was a decent team last year. In Norfolk, we weren't winning a lot of games. So I think that also factored into the decision to send me back. And then again, both really good teams last year to Edmonton, this year to Seattle, have a chance to win a championship and be a big contributor to a championship team. Is something that, I was really looking forward to being a part of, and Nashville was on board with it as well.
And now that you've had a little bit of time to reflect on your championship win with Edmonton last year, there are few teams or few players that get to win championships, even fewer that get to do it in their own hometown. Just what was that moment like for you now that you can reflect on it?
It was extremely special. Sorry. I think the group of guys we had in that locker room was unbelievable. We were such a tight-knit group. We were always doing things outside of the rink, whether that be just watching hockey games or doing little stuff together. And that made going to the rink every day really enjoyable. Seeing the smiles on their faces, and then I mean, getting to go home, and I'm going home to my family, and my mom's cooking, and just little things like that they add up. And for them, all my friends and my family to be there at the finals, to come out on the ice after to hold the trophy with me is something I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
Now, obviously, you fell short at the Memorial Cup, so you come back to Seattle. They're currently the 6th ranked team in the Kia CHL top 10 rankings, joining only Winnipeg, Quebec, and Sherbrooke as the only teams that have been ranked in all 8 weeks. What was the message, or what's your role going to be with this team? Like, what did Coach Odette or Bill LaForge tell you before you suited up in your first game?
I think, well, for my first game, they didn't want me to, think too much, just kind of play with instincts. But, I think my role here, I mean, I am 20, one of the 3 20-year-olds, being an older guy, expected to take on a leadership role, which I'm totally comfortable doing, and, helping the younger guys with the league, It is a difficult and hard, and it will be hopefully a long year for us. So making sure that they feel included and are feeling good mentally and physically. And then on the ice as well, I know that I'm going to be dependent on to, play different roles, different situations. I expect some of our guys to go to World Juniors and I'll have to step up then. And just making sure I'm being really coachable and playing whatever role that the team needs me to.
What can you take from last year, where you went from Calgary to Edmonton, who was such a good team? And I know it was only after a few games, but and bring it to this year and just fitting in seamlessly in that locker room and not disrupting the chemistry because obviously they are a team that's rolling right now.
Yeah, I think for me, just making sure that I'm not trying to do too much on the ice, just trying to play my game and help out the guys on the ice. I think off the ice is kind of somewhere where I'm really focused on right now. Again, looking back last year of how tight knit of a group we had, I think that really helped us on the ice with our chemistry. And so trying to do things away from the rink, whether that be going to a movie or hockey games or just doing little stuff together. I know the guys, we played football a bunch together after practice and stuff like that, going out to eat, just little things that help build chemistry that, make you want to work for the guy next to you, when there's a tight game or, things maybe aren't going so well, you rally the troops and go forward.
Does it make it easier with some more Edmonton natives on the team? Siona and Davidson, and then Gustafson and Schaefer might as well be from Edmonton.
Yeah, it helps a lot. I think, especially at the start, being a new guy, trying to fit in, find the group of guys that you hang out with quite often. It's nice. I'm living with Scones, so he's been helping me transition to the team really smoothly. And I went to school with Jared. I played 2 years of hockey with Crank. So it's a good group. It's a really good group of guys, and they're helping me fit in quite well.
Is it weird playing for the team that you won a championship against last year in that tough 6-game series?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I realized how good of a team they were last year. We never played them. So game one was kind of an eye opener for us of how good of a team Seattle really is. And when I got the news that I was coming back here, that was something that really excited me. I knew the kind of group that they had in this locker room, and I knew that I could make an impact and with my experience in that playoff run last year and bring it to this team. But yeah, it is a little bit awkward. Sometimes I have to stop myself from making jokes or something like that because I know it's a little sore spot, especially it only being a few months ago. So I give it to Siona a little bit once in a while, but I know he can take it. So it's all fun.
And your first game in Seattle, you score first goal of the season, so it must have been nice to get on the right side of the Seattle fans.
Yeah, I think so. I was actually laughing with Scones. I think that when my name got announced, I started the game. I think when my name got announced, there was a lot of cheers, but I think there were a couple of boos in there as well too. Same with when I scored. But I mean, again, when we came here for games 3 and 4, I'd only played here once ever before that, and I knew that they had good fans, but I mean, I didn't know we were going into that kind of atmosphere. So getting to play for these fans every home game is something special and something I'm going to look forward to for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's one thing to play on a good team, but how much nicer is it to play on a good team that has a great fan base as well?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, they just rally around you so much. Like, I get chills every time I step out on the ice and I hear that chant that they have going on. And whether that being a big hit or a block shot, they're always hyping us up and bringing positive energy to the group.
Well, like I said earlier, Seattle's one of the 4 teams that's been ranked in the QCHL top 10 rankings all year long. They add you, and now they've gone out and added Nolan Allan from PA, and just earlier today, Ty Hurley from Swift Current. So how do you help those 2 guys adjust to the locker room as well?
Yeah, I think, it'll be a transition for them like it was for me. Again, just making them feel integrated and, doing stuff away from the rink always helps. Always, I mean, I'm still learning the drills and some of the systems and stuff like that. So I might not be the go-to guy at that moment or in this moment right now, but just helping them along the way with whatever questions that they have or little things that I didn't know when I got here that I can tell them when they get here, whether that be tomorrow or the day after that.
Obviously, you played a lot against Nolan Allan in the past. What do you think he's going to bring to your roster?
I think the one thing that I noticed right away from Nolan was just the sturdiness he plays with. He's a very steady defenseman. He doesn't. It reminds me a lot of me. Like he doesn't make a lot of mistakes or doesn't let a lot get to him. He's pretty calm and contained, and nothing really frazzles him. And then he has that offensive flair too when he needs it. So I think he'll be a really good and key addition for our team moving forward.
Is there a buzz in the dressing room right now with with excitement with the moves and everybody obviously realizes that you guys are going for it?
Yeah, I think so. There's quite a bit of a buzz, and it just shows that the management and the owners have a belief in this group that we have a chance to do something special, and that gives us a sense of confidence that the management is behind us and willing to do whatever it takes to make this team a championship team. And it's up to us now to get on the ice and practice and work every day and play to our identity and go win some games and have a long year.
How much did you follow along with the dub while you were in the coast?
Quite a bit. For a while there, I was still with Edmonton, so I was watching all their games for when I could. When I got traded to Seattle, I was keeping in touch with the guys I knew on the team like Siona and Davidson and Kovic. After whenever they had a game, I would check in, see how the game was going, always looking at the highlights, stuff like that. And, just the thought of it, making sure that, if I went back, just knowing kind of some of the systems that they play in and things like that, getting familiar with it if I went back or not. So I kept tabs on both teams quite a bit.
Well, I'll ask you about the Winnipeg ICE, who are the top ranked team in the QSHL top 10 rankings right now. You played against them last year. What do you see from them? Obviously, they're going to be one of the teams to beat this year coming out of the East. So, what do you think you guys need to do to be able to beat Winnipeg this year?
Well, I mean, first we got to get through 3 teams to play them in the finals. But if that matchup does happen, they're an extremely skilled team who have a lot of high flyers and run and gun guys. Played against a few of them for my entire careers. Played with some of them for a lot of my career as well too. But I mean, I don't want to look too far into the future. I just know that when that time comes, or if that time comes, we're going to be prepared. We're going to be ready to play our game and not so much play to their style, but try to make them play our style of game.
Is it more exciting this year knowing that 2 WHL teams make it to the Memorial Cup?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for us, it's I think maybe a little bit more nerve-wracking because it's Kamloops. We could be playing them, whenever in the playoffs. So it might be more exciting for the East side because if Kamloops makes it and whoever wins the East is automatically in. But it's nice for the league, I think, to finally host it. I know COVID kind of ruined things with Kelowna, but just to get the spotlight in the WHL back, I think it brings a nice buzz around the whole league.
Well, you guys, you have Everett coming to town on Saturday. Like I said earlier, the team's playing well. What do you guys have to do to keep playing well and get the win against Everett?
Yeah, I think, with a lot of new faces in the lineup and faces out of the lineup, just keeping things simple, trying not to do too much, especially for me and Nolan and Ty, just playing our games and playing with instincts, not overloading information, and just going out there and playing the game that we know how to. We have a lot of skill on our team, and a lot of grit as well too. We can play both styles, so we're going to try and push the pace and make every team we play against play our style of game, because that's what we're most comfortable with.
Luke, this has been great. Really appreciate you taking the time out to talk with me today. Good luck the rest of the season.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott.
Really excited to welcome QMJHL leading scorer, Columbus Blue Jackets prospect from the Halifax Mooseheads, Jordan Dumais. Jordan, how you doing this evening?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks. Jordan, you like I mentioned off the top, you're leading the Q in scoring with 42 points in only 19 games, just a point behind Connor Bedard for the CHL lead. And then, you finished last year on a tear, started this year on a tear, putting up 64 points from the start to for the end of last year to the start of this year in just 23 games. So what kind of clicked for you last April that made you go on such a heater?
Yeah, I know. I think everything was just clicking obviously back then. Our team was also on a tear too at that point. We were doing really well, and obviously when the team's playing well, it helps me a lot. But overall, just when things start clicking, you have a lot of momentum, especially as a line. I think everything's going well, and I think it still is right now. So.
Well, you mentioned line, and you've got, sometimes you're playing with Vidicek and Cataford, sometimes you're playing with Biasca. Does that just show how close of a group that you guys are, that you can play with whoever in a line and you guys have chemistry?
Yeah, exactly. We've always been a young team, and part of that is for the past 3 years. Most of the guys are on my team 3 years ago. Some of them are still with me now, and obviously with those guys, like you said, Biasca, Vidicek, even guys like Furlong. 3 years together. Obviously it builds chemistry, and obviously shows on the ice. So,
do you consider yourself more of a goal scorer or a playmaker?
Consider myself more of a playmaker. I do focus on my scoring a bit more now, and I think I'm definitely a goal scorer, but my natural instincts is a pass first type of guy. So,
who's your favorite guy on the team to set up?
I'd say right now probably Cataford. I like getting him one-timers like he likes to. So
now you've already got 4 game-winning goals this season, 5 all of last year. Obviously you're a year older, but do you like being that go-to guy, the clutch guy for the team?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, like you said, 5-4 this year. I like being relied on by my coach, and I like that he trusts me. And also, he did last year too. But now that some of the older guys are gone, it is really on me, and I'm just trying to do my job. And I'm just trying to come in clutch for my team. So,
how have you grown from last year to this year as a player?
I think I've definitely matured a lot. I think every game, every practice, I'm always trying to get better. And, all the little details, I think throughout the years here in Halifax, especially, I think I've gotten a lot better. And playing older guys, especially being here at 16, 17, I learned a lot from those guys, especially guys like Desnoyers and even Justin Barron. And I think everything right now is just paying off. So.
What are, maybe one or two of the most important things that you learned from Desnoyers or Barron?
Just how big of leaders they are. Obviously we all know how good they are on the ice, but off the ice, they're so unselfish, and they're so welcoming, and they're such nice guys. Especially when I came in at 16. They were so nice to me, and I was really welcoming. And I was playing at Desnoyers since I was 16, so just being on his line and him supporting me along the way and giving me tips now, that helps a lot. So.
And how has that helped form you as a leader to the young kids that are coming in now?
Yeah, the way that, like I said, they treated me like the Desi and all of them. I know how it feels now, whether I wasn't getting treated well with some guys, or the guys like Desi helped a lot. Now I just want to be one of those good guys for the younger guys. Every year, we're young guys in Halifax. We're bringing in a lot of 16-year-olds, so I'm just trying to be good for them, like some guys were for me. So
16 goals in 19 games. So I know you said you're more of a playmaker, but those are pretty good numbers too. And your shooting percentage has gone up in each of your 3 years in the league. So what do you do to work on your shot or your accuracy of your shot?
Yeah, in practice, I'm always not just shooting at the net. I'm usually shooting certain spots, maybe for instincts and such as. But obviously, I think scoring is a big mental thing, and I just think mentally, if I'm prepared to score and I tell myself to score and little things like that, I think pays off. So.
Well, like you said at the start, you guys finished last year really strong. I think it was on a 7-game win streak, but lost in the first round of the playoffs. How did that finish help improve you guys going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we learned a lot from that series. I mean, we did go up 2-0 and then got reverse swept, but obviously it was really unfortunate at the time, and it still is to this day every time we play Bathurst. But I think in the long run, I think just going through those emotions, I think it builds up a little fire in us, and I think especially next playoffs, I mean, we're gonna be ready and to make sure it doesn't happen again. So.
You guys are second place in the Eastern Conference behind only the Quebec Ramparts, who are the second-ranked team in the QCHL top 10 rankings. So what do you guys still need to improve upon to take that next step?
Yeah, I mean, all the little things, obviously, I mean, like I said, obviously we're young, but at this point, it's not really an excuse. And I do think we're old enough and we have the talent to be a winning team and definitely go for the MAM Cup. But yeah, I mean, just little things. I mean, we're really well coached here. I mean, every day we're learning new things, putting new things in our system. So I just think being systematic and just being close as a team, I think is going to take us far. So.
I mentioned the top 10 rankings, and you guys have been right around the rankings all season long so far, either in an honorable mention or just in. And this is the first week that you've been out. But does that help build a little bit more confidence in the dressing room, seeing that you're considered one of the 10 to 13 best teams in the league?
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, I mean, obviously when we all look at it, I mean, it's cool to be up there and along those other teams and stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously we just went through a little tough stretch. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think we're just gonna learn from it. I think it happens to every team where you lose a few games in a row. And yeah, I mean, all we have to do is just learn from it and just bounce back whenever, especially this weekend. So.
Now, you guys have only lost 5 games in regulation this season, but you're currently on a 3-game slide. So what do you guys have to do this weekend against St. John to get out of that slide?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just putting all those 3 games that we just lost behind us and just focusing on what we usually do. I mean, obviously, we just lost 3 straight, but we did win a lot straight before that. So, I mean, obviously, like I said, just put those games behind us and just go back to what we were doing before. And yeah, just showing up a character every game, and just competing the whole 60. So.
Now, you've played St. John once this year, and you kind of ran over them 7-0. So what do you guys have to do to not underestimate them and maybe take your foot off the gas and potentially get beat?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't have to take them lightly. I mean, they are going to have a few extra guys that didn't have last game, so we all know that. And we know they're going to be a better team. I mean, obviously, they're not one of the top in Canada, but obviously we just can't take them lightly at all. That's when everything goes south, so.
And we sort of touched on him earlier, and Mathieu Cataford, he's only 2 goals off of his rookie full season numbers last year. So maybe give us a scouting report on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a two-way player, obviously. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of flaws in his game. I mean, he could play wing, he could play center. I mean, I'm on his line. Depends on the shift. He might be center, might be winger, so he's very versatile. But yeah, obviously he's a great guy off the ice. I mean, he's great defensively. He could put the puck in the net. He is a unbelievable hockey IQ. So I think that's why he clicked the most. So I mean, I think he's a great player, one of the best in the draft. So just hoping for the best for him. So.
You were drafted by Columbus in the 3rd round this summer. In Montreal, basically your hometown. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Obviously, I mean, obviously the draft itself is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but just the fact that I was at home, it was just made it so much better. And having a bunch of my family there, all my grandparents, some of my cousins. I mean, it was a great experience, obviously, and one I'll never forget. So.
What did it mean to you to be able to share it with all of them?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, obviously they've helped me so much along the way. I mean, whether it's my close family or not, I mean, whoever's been in my life in the past, obviously, has to do with the draft, and it was just so great to do it in front of all of them and just get drafted. And obviously, it's good for me, but it's obviously good for them too. I mean, yeah, just showing that their hard work towards me paid off. So.
And what did you take away from Columbus's camp, and did they give you any messages coming back into this season?
Yeah, it was great over there. I mean, playing with those superstars, the best players in the world. I mean, I think I learned a lot, and it was also a lot of fun. I mean, you don't know too much once you go into it. You don't really know too much of it, but I mean, once you get on the ice with all the guys for a bit, I mean, you kind of realize and you just try to fit in. So, I mean, it was great overall.
Do you pick up on what it's like to be a pro a little bit more, seeing some of those other guys in either the weight room or just around the rink, how they act?
Yeah, definitely. The way that they carry themselves off the ice. I mean, you could tell whether they're all pros. Obviously, I mean, especially when you go back to whether it's junior or not, you could tell a big difference how leaders they are and just how they carry themselves off the ice. So I mean, it was great looking at those guys and learning from them. So
I was talking to Craig Button a couple of weeks ago, and you came up and we talked about how you didn't get invited to the Top Prospects game last year, but then you went on such a tear and you got drafted, and you kind of used that snub, at least in our eyes, as motivation throughout the year. And now, with the way that you've started the season, Craig mentioned that you could be a candidate for the World Juniors this year, and if not this year, then next year. Is it nice to start getting some recognition, some personal recognition on your game?
it's definitely nice. I mean, obviously those little things like the prospects game and all that. I mean, obviously it sucked in the moment. I didn't get invited, but at the end of the day, just my personality, I just kind of forget about those things and just go back to doing my own thing. So, I mean, when all those things happen, I mean, I just, like I said, just try to bounce back and use it as motivation. So.
What would it mean to you to get invited to selection camp for the World Junior team?
Yeah, it'd be unbelievable. Obviously, I mean, obviously being representing Team Canada would be great, and obviously playing all those great players. I mean, that we have in Canada. I mean, it'd be an unbelievable experience, especially that's in Halifax. So.
Now, one of your teammates who hasn't played yet, Zachary L'Heureux, is another guy who'd be considered for that team if he was healthy. And I hear he's getting close to returning. So, what kind of an impact will he make when he gets back into the lineup?
Yeah, I think should be here in the next week or two on the ice. But I mean, obviously it's gonna help a lot. I mean, obviously his veteran presence, but obviously not just that. I mean, he's on the ice. I mean, such a great player, obviously, and I think it speaks for itself. But it's definitely going to help our team a lot. So.
It's like getting a trade deadline acquisition without having to give anything away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just adding on to our team. Yeah.
Now, just to quickly touch back on the prospects, what would you say to somebody that might not get invited to it this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to put it behind you. I mean, at the end of the day, I think a few months past it, it really doesn't matter what happened at the prospects game, or even if it's about the draft. I mean, everyone kind of forgets about it, and I mean, at the end of the day, everyone just looks at you on the ice. So, I mean, obviously those little events are cool and all, but at the end of the day, it's just how you are on the ice and how you respond to it. So.
Yeah, we've seen years where guys get invited to prospects and not get drafted. We see guys that aren't drafted one year sign as a free agent the next year. So obviously there's no reason to get disgruntled or upset if you don't get invited, right?
Exactly. Yeah, just gotta bounce back and use it as motivation.
Well, Jordan, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.